going to Belden, Maine, wherever that was. Somewhere near Mount Katahdin, south of Soutahunk Lake, north of Pimmadumcook Lake, west of the towns of Mattawamkeag and Millinocket, and east of Chisuncook, Cockmagomic, and Sabumic Lakes. The name slipped around in his head like an Indian chant, a far cry from the Germanic nomenclatures of his native Cincinnati. Austin knew the names from having studied the map, though he wouldn't care to bet his life on how they were spelled. And just what any self-respecting Indian ever did in all that snow would forever be beyond him, for he had always pictured Indians as a warm-climate people, dressing only in scanty loincloths, whooping after bison. The snow was falling so thick and fast that he thought he could almost hear it above the slow cushing of the train. And it was falling bright, sharply so, prompting him to put on his dark sunglasses. In doing so, he caused the image of Maynard Whittier to jump up before him. Maynard Whittier, who always wore dark glasses, rain or shine. Dark glasses and an impish, omnipresent smile. He was seldom without either. Maynard Whittier, the Maine potato farmer. The dead Maine potato farmer, who had willed to Austin whatever kind of house it was near Belden, east, west, north, and south of all those Indian places. Austin took the paper from his pocket reverently, as if it were centuries-old papyrus. Yet all it was blue-lined notebook paper, dog-eared and sweat-stained, hardly the kind one would select to record his last will and testament on. Nor was it centuries old. It was more like 6 months old. I, Corporal Maynard Whittier, in the event of my death, leave to Austin Fletcher my house on 11 acres, 8 miles northwest of Belden, Maine. I also leave to Austin Fletcher all that is inside that house. I write this while in full possession of my faculties on this day, July 23rd, 1972, somewhere in Vietnam. Everything was green and steaming, the jungle lush and overgrown and smelling. They had just come in from a patrol during which nothing was encountered and no one was hurt, except Gruninger, who, as usual, skinned an elbow or bruised a knee or snagged a nail or anything that might give him cause to bitch. The 10 of them were flaked out in various positions of death, trying to impress one another with how close to exhaustion they each were. Only Maynard was untainted, sweat and vegetation and gun oil never seeming to find their way to his person. His hair, the color of wheat, was as neatly in place as if he'd just stepped out of a Brill Cream commercial. Even his corporal's stripes were their original vivid yellow. Even his boots, his helmet, his fatigues looked as those things did in recruitment posters. And yet, he was the patrol leader, the decision-maker. It was one thing to be cool under fire. It was quite something else to be immaculate. Maynard was something else. About the same age and physicality as Maynard, it always unsettled Austin to see his own face mirrored twice in the windows of Maynard's sunglasses whenever they talked. It was even more unsettling on that particular day, for Maynard had just sprung his will on Austin, and Austin had just finished reading it, to the accompaniment of the far-off whump, whump of mortar fire. "What am I supposed to do with this thing, Maynard?" "Why, you keep it," said Maynard in his maddening Maine accent. "Nobody knows anything about what's going to happen." "Don't you have a family?" "Nope, just my 2 dogs, hither and thither. Left 'em with a couple of kids for safekeeping till I get back." He smiled that charismatic smile. "Austin, I'll tell you, I expect to live forever. But I also expect I might be wrong, in which case you hold on to that thing, 'cause it may just have some value." "Swell, but why me?" "It's you or Joe Sharma or Terry Glover, and since they can barely read, and since you're a kind of loner like I am. Austin, I got books back home, lots of fine books, and then there's my own notes on the area.